Hey everybody, this is the Sliders Review, and I'm here today to talk to you about my fan casting for that Booster Gold for the new HBO series. So, I think I saw James Gunn talk about Booster Gold, and it's gonna be like a live action television series. That's cool. Now, I'm not the hugest Booster Gold fan. I've only seen him a number of like 2 times, but I've seen him cameo for like a third. So I guess that'd be like 3 times I saw him now. The first time I've ever seen him, I actually liked him. It was back in the Justice League Unlimited cartoon series. And I remember back when it switched to Unlimited, everything changed. The intro, the time, how long the episodes stay on and everything. And I remember, I think it came on like Saturdays at that time, and I almost missed it. And I was missing a couple of episodes. And so I was able to catch one, and it was the Booster Gold episode. And all I could say is, who the heck is Booster Gold? And where is the rest of the Justice League? And why can't nobody take down this villain with superpowers? And then he did something to where, I don't know, it was something. It was like Batman and Wonder Woman was fused together, and it was just a strange episode. I'm like, what the heck is going on? I'm all like, this show is going downhill. I don't understand because I've missed so many episodes. I did not understand what was going on. But Booster Gold had his own solo episode. While they was facing off this like person with magical powers, he was just trying to help out, but nobody wanted him to help out for some bizarre reason. So he had to do crowd control. And so everybody kept assuming he was Green Lantern for some reason. Then all of a sudden there's this guy walking around town and he has like a black hole in his stomach and he's sucking everything in. So with the entire Justice League dealing with like this crisis, Booster Gold was the only person to like stop this bad guy. So Booster Gold is kind of like this loser of a guy who just happens to have like a super suit and a little robot named Skeets. He came from like the future and traveled back in time to be a superhero and everything because he just couldn't cut it in the future. I'm not sure what his profession was in the future. I know in the League of what was it called? Superboy and no, Superman and the Legion of Superheroes, he was a janitor. So I'm not really sure what he is in the comics because I don't read comics, but it was one of the most entertaining episodes I ever watched around that time because it was kind of like, here's this weird B plot that should be a B plot, but instead it's an A plot and everything. And the Justice League had the B plot. And he's just kind of like this incapable like superhero who's always screwing up but managed to save the day and everything. I thought that was so cool. Then the second time I saw him was in Smallville, and it was kind of a dumb, boring episode. He's kind of like this hotshot type guy who thinks he's all that. And his whole purpose of going back in time was whoever was going to walk through this door at this point in time was going to be considered the greatest superhero of all time. I believe it was supposed to be Clark, the whole Superman thing. So he thought, hey, maybe if I do it, I become like the greatest one of all. But it takes more than just walking through a door. It takes courage and all this and that. And they had Blue Beetle as like getting his costume in that episode. So most of the time in comics, I believe, it's normally Booster Gold and Blue Beetle tagging for whatever reason. I know Blue Beetle is supposed to have an animated series instead of a live action one. Gee, I wonder why and everything. Cause it like the whole rolling back on DEI. Gee, I just wonder why. But anyway, but Booster Gold is gonna get his own series. Now I do remember, I think he was in Supergirl. I think. Played by the dude from Clueless. I did not watch that episode. I have no idea how he was in that. And I think he showed up in Batman Brave and the Bold, but I never saw that either. But anyway, he's a fascinating character. And I do like the idea of he's just this loser guy who just stumbled upon like a super suit and a robot and wants to be a superhero more than anything else. But nobody really gives him the time of day. And so, with the fan casting, The thing about Booster Gold is you have to have somebody who's one, serious but not too serious, goofy but not too goofy, has some type of like charismatic charm, and kind of has that arrogance to him and everything. He needs to be kind of like a jock who thinks he's all that, but really isn't. You know what I'm saying? And so, with this fan casting, here are some people that I think will do a really good job doing that. Well, let's just get this dude out the way right here, right now, because he's everybody's number one pick, including my own, and that's Glenn Powell. Now, I've only seen this dude in Scream Queens. I can't say that word for nothing. I keep getting tongue-tied. Scream Queens. And this dude is hilarious. I mean, he is hilarious. He plays a frat dude who's just over the top, think he's all that, and super comedic. He is one of the best things of that series and everything. And Glenn has been on a roll lately when it comes to movies. You know, he's been rocking and rolling lately. He started off in TV. He's moved his way up, not just in movies, but major movies at that. He was in the Twister remake. I think he was in Top Gun Maverick movie. And something else he's supposed to be in currently. I can't remember which one. He looks just like Booster Gold. He has that like personality whenever he plays a character like this. He can play a person who's kind of serious, a person who's over the top, a person who's silly, and a person who has the arrogance and everything. Jared Keezo. So Jared Keezo, if you don't know him, he's a Canadian actor with a really huge neck. I've talked about him before in the show called Shoresy. And so like I also had a fan casting for him to be Guy Gardner in James Gunn's Superman movie. He would have been a perfect Guy Gardner. Now the thing about Jared is that if you ever watch Letterkenny or Shoresy, which is set in the same universe, they're both his shows that he created himself because of the simple fact he's Canadian, but he came on to America and nobody was hiring him to be in their shows and movies. So he went back home and decided to create his own stuff. And it paid off. Letterkenny lasted for about 8 seasons or something like that, or more than that, I can't remember. And then they had the spin-off Shoresy. And so while Letterkenny is not really my favorite because I feel like I'm losing brain cells when I'm watching that show, I do love myself some Shoresy. And in both shows, he plays 2 completely different characters. Both are stupid and both are very comedic, but he plays them very, very, very differently and stuff. When he plays in Letterkenny, he plays like a redneck with squinty eyes and a high-pitched voice. When he's in Shoresy, his eyes are wide open. He's an arrogant jerk with an even higher pitched voice. Now, in real life, he has a deep voice, but he's able to convey both that arrogance, that comedic timing, and a little bit of that confidence and stuff. Sean Patrick Williams and everything. The Stifler, I mean, come on now. Like, pretty much that is kind of who, you know, in my opinion, Booster Gold is, with the whole arrogance and comedicness and everything. Why not the dude who, like, you know, perfected that in the American Pie movies and stuff? Stifler is, well, not Stifler, but Sean has played a variety of roles. Now, yes, he is older, but so is the Batman from the Batman Brave Bold, whatever James Gunn is going to do. So it don't matter. And I mean, look at Guy Gardner. He's old. So, like, you know, Sean, he knows how to play a serious role. He knows how to play a serious comedic role. He knows how to play a over-the-top comedic role. He knows how to play, like, the straight man and everything. Not a straight man as in a person who's straight, but, you know, like the phrase and everything. He is that embodiment of like Booster Gold and everything. He'll just have to dye his hair a little bit more blonde and make sure he just doesn't do it over the top. Marlon Wayans. Now, out of all the Wayans family members, Marlon is probably the only one who has the most acting roles. He has the most depth and he's been cast in multiple things. Now, I know what you're thinking. He's silly and over the top from those scary movies, but he knows how to calm himself down. He knows how to play the straight funny man and everything. He knows how to play the serious funny man, and he knows how to play a serious character. He knows how to play a person who's dopey, and he knows how to play a person who's just thinks he's all that and over and arrogant and over the top. Chris Evans, before he became Captain America, the dude used to do a couple of comedy type stuff. Not Another Teen Movie is where I first know this guy from. He has the look, but yes, he is getting older like some of the other people on this list. He knows how to convey like comedy. And when he goes off the top, he can really go over the top. And then when you need to calm him down and everything and make him more chill, but in a comedic way, he really knows how to do that. He has that preppy boy look to him. He has like that arrogance to him, and he knows how to be cocky when he wants to be. And he also knows how to be like the straightforward straight man and everything. And now that he's no longer in the MCU, he can do this and everything. I mean, just remember him as Johnny Storm. Like, the dude was the best part of that entire, like, 2 movies and stuff because of how he used to act. Now, yes, like I said before, he is getting older, and it sucks that he couldn't play him when he was younger. Chris Hemsworth is a surprisingly funny person. Like, I first saw him be comedic in that what is it, Ghostbuster movie, the all-female one. I never knew he could be like a funny person, and then later when they started making Thor comedic, the dude should be a comedian. He can play like, you know, the charismatic goofy person, the charismatic boyish charm. He can play the arrogant person. He can play the angry person. He can play the loser type. He can play the straightforward man and stuff. Alan Richardson. So yes, Reacher. Now, a lot of people have to remember something. Before this dude started doing comic book movies and TV shows and everything else, he used to play more comedic type role. Blue Mountain State and a bunch of other stuff where he was always kind of like that cocky kind of person. He has that really, really, really good like angry person vibe to him when he plays stuff. He has that kind of dopiness to him. He has that comedic flair to him. He has that sternness to him. And so, but the only thing is he's really, really muscular, thick, and tall. So that's going to be a little jarring, but who cares? That will actually make it more funnier. Here you have this extremely huge, swole, muscular guy, and he's just a big, like, dope and everything, and nobody respects him. That would be so funny on screen. But of course, he's tied up with Reacher, but that shouldn't be too much of a problem because nowadays it takes 2 years for a season to come out because all these stars are tied to other projects. Ryan Gosling, the guy that made the girls go goo goo gaga and everything. This dude has been doing that since he's been like a teenager and stuff with Goosebumps, Young Hercules, The Notebook. I forgot he can play a comedic type person. Well, actually, I don't think I've ever really known until the Barbie movie and stuff, because I've always seen him, like I've seen him in Young Hercules and Goosebumps back in the day, and he always had that charming, charismatic vibe to him. You know, like he's the cool guy and everything. But then comes Barbie, and he can really be funny and stuff. And so this would be great for him because like his movies never seem to hit with people and stuff. And he is a really good actor. It just sucks that his projects can't take off. Chris Evans has that same problem. Chris Pratt. So Star-Lord in the MCU is basically Booster Gold. He's the loser, he's the hero that comes up on top. He's funny, he's arrogant, he's charming, and he's worked with James Gunn before, and we know James Gunn loves to recycle his actors. Anthony Starr, Homelander himself from The Boys. He has the look. We know he can play the straightforward man and the comedic dude as well. He's charming. He has that arrogance to him. He has that dopiness to him, but that dopiness, his dopiness is still in that, that cool factor. And that's what Booster Gold has to have. He has to have that cool guy dopiness to him. And kind of that, oh, I give up because I'm a loser, but oh no, like, I'm going to save the day kind of thing. Last, Ryan McKen. Now, he is somebody I've only seen in one thing, but I've only seen him play like a comedic person. I think he's a newcomer from New Zealand or Australia 1, and I saw him in Zomboat. And in Zomboat, he's just a very hilarious guy. He's a dude with like all these muscles and insecurities, and his best friend kind of didn't want to spend the last days on Earth with him and stuff like that. And so he has this very comedic, like, flair to him, but I don't know if he can play the straight everyday man because I've only seen him in this one role, but he's funny enough to at least give it a shot. You know what I'm saying? And so these are my fan picks of who I will love to see as like Booster Gold. But of course, James Gunn is probably going to go with like somebody nobody's never heard of or barely has any acting credits. Or he might just go with Glenn because that's what everybody wants and everything. But we all know if there's something everybody wants, then James won't do it. And he'll go with somebody who's kind of like the unknown type person. Alrighty, well, I'll talk to y'all later. Bye.